So there is a moment, usually late at night, when everything suddenly feels fake, when everything starts falling apart, when your code breaks, when you don't feel confident in your design, when you don't have enough confidence in the product that you are trying to build, when the numbers are stalled, when your books are not right, and a thought quietly breaks in. It quietly walks in and it says that you know a lot of things, but are you actually good enough? Can you actually do this thing? And some thoughts after you talk to yourself, maybe that I keep on changing directions, maybe I just lack discipline, maybe I don't have enough knowledge, maybe the market doesn't require what I'm building. So, hello everyone. I wanna talk in this video, the episode number 4, about how I handle self doubt when it creeps in. It slowly creeps in. And I'm not gonna talk in a very Instagram version, not in a very motivational speaker version. I'm not gonna tell you that do this for the next 10 days and it will you see the change in your life. I'm gonna talk like a real version that I feel a lot of it resonates with me a lot. Because if you are a founder, you are a creator, you are a builder, even if you are a student who is trying to score 100% in your next exams, self doubt is not just a phase, it's a recurring visitor that keeps coming back to almost everyone. I'm not talking to those highly enthusiastic influencers and people who keep on talking, "Oh, I don't feel these kind of things." I want to speak to the people who actually go through these human emotions and they actually feel that they are, you know, doubting themselves. And I'll tell you about me. Self doubt usually happens with me when something technical breaks, when the project I'm working on, when the software that I work on after a lot of time, it breaks after putting in a lot of efforts, or when the runway feels shorter than the vision, when the product that I want to launch or the service that I want to work for, it feels like that it's gonna take me n number of times. The world is gonna change before I'm able to launch it. When the program progress becomes invisible for too long, when I've been working for months on months, but the needle doesn't move even a single bit. So self doubt is not low confidence. I think it's our mind reacting to uncertainty, and when we don't get enough feedback on what we are doing and how we are. I'll tell you about a phase in my life where I was building a program. It was in collaboration, and it was like it had a mix of some programs, some dashboard I had to build. It was based on some framework calculations algorithm that we had to do. And almost a year ago, when we were discussing about it, on paper everything looked smart. Even based on my experiences and my past, it felt that it's gonna revolutionize the healthcare sector. But in reality, the product breaks. There is a very popular thing which people say it's a bug, it's not a feature, and somehow you try to work around it. So things kept on breaking. Every week I used to promise that next week we are gonna start the testing, but every week we used to find some new problem which was shaking the foundation of the thing that we were planning to build. And the traction was slow, the money was a real pressure, I wasn't able to build them properly, and like also few more tools keep on launching which was kind of taking our market. And every night after the management meeting, I used to sit there and keep on thinking that I understand the space, I understand the product, I have put in months of understanding what the tool is all about, and still nothing is moving to the market. We are not able to launch it, and it is not even related to the clients, it is also related to the agency as well. And but I used to think about skipping the dashboard, the reports, everything felt weird. It feels like it doesn't belong with you, and even the small decisions feels exhausting. And the dangerous part about it is that I don't feel disconnected about it. It's like I keep on orbiting the idea of work rather than actually working on it. And on the contrary, because of these actions, I started becoming a lot more lazy because I wanted to avoid the problem in itself. And I was just working on the surface, actually facing the real problem that kind of boosts the self doubt. And is that self doubt is rarely about your capabilities, it's rarely about your capacities, and it's a lot more about loss of traction. It's about when you are, I mean, you understand what I mean by loss of traction is when you work on a thing for too long and you don't see it moving anywhere. Think of it as confidence comes from movement, identity comes from evidences, and when evidence slow downs, the ego panics. To break it down in a very simpler manner is that to actually convert the clients, to gain the confidence in sales, I have to actually go out and I have to meet people. I can't be just sending them emails every day and just getting, oh no, we already have a team. In fact, in one of the seminars I attended or I think last to last year, it's a Hindi slang where he was saying chappal kiso, which means you have to actually go out and work in the real world. So, and because I'm not actually going out and I'm not actually learning how to become a good salesperson, I don't have enough numbers to actually justify. And when the numbers are not there, when the sales are not there, then you start actually panicking about it that maybe I'm not meant for this thing. So mind creates stories. It creates stories like maybe I'm not disciplined enough, which I also used to think like I have to get up every early morning. I have to make the whole plan for the day. I have to like reach out to 10 to 15 people every day. Maybe I am just scattered. Maybe I'm focusing on a lot of things. Maybe others are better than me. And that's not the system, that's our body telling us, giving us some signals, some missing signals when the self doubt creeps in. And in these kind of situations, what do I actually like to do when self doubt shows up? This is, of course, this is something recently I started doing. Is I don't fight it back. I mean, earlier I used to be like, no, get up, get ready, you can do this. But every time I used to get back to the same spot. And of course, I don't overthink about it now. I've already spoken, I think, in my first episode about overthinking. And like if you start self doubting yourself, then you have kind of a like enhancement to your overthinking as well. And then the overthinking keeps you in that thinking loop where you are not able to actually work on it, and then again you lose attraction, which again fuels up you yourself self-doubting. So I don't overthink about it. I don't try to motivate myself again and again. I tried that for months on months where I was just motivating myself that you can do this, you are meant for this, you are a genius, you are the best. Of course these things work, they do There is a thing called fake confidence is also confidence. But before moving to that solution where you start actually training your mind to say that you are confident enough, you have to actually understand what your body is telling you. What is the crux or the core of the problem that you are facing? And in terms of self doubt, there is like on a very basic level, there are these three questions that you can ask yourself, which is the question number one is kind of a do an audit and find out what actually is broken right now. And is it like something which is related to your identity? Is it something related to like the overthinking process? Is the system completely broken? Is the process of you following it is broken? Or is it the piece of work you are working on is broken? For example, in one of my scenarios, I think the process is broken because as I spoke about it in like the project I was talking about, I had to like build an algorithm, and first I tried to build the algorithm using AI itself, even though all it required was me sitting down with an Excel sheet, just mapping numbers, connecting labels, and completing the process. But I wasn't doing it. So, which leads to, loss in traction and me finding a lot of problems later on. Question number two is what real action are you really avoiding? It is usually very small, but it's very uncomfortable. And just like I told you, in my case, it was working on that Excel sheet. And it is a very small thing that I had to do, but it was quite uncomfortable for me because it felt very boring. I had to like concentrate a lot into it, and even a bit of distraction usually took me away from it, and I kept on thinking about the other things that I had to focus on, the sales, the team meetings, the client calls, the building of services, the product that I want to release. I used to focus on those things rather than actually working on that Excel sheet. It can also be in the same manner where sometimes in the agency we used to feel that our finances are a little bit messed up, and I had to sit on our finances and do the work. I was trying to build the whole system of sales and operations rather than actually going through the numbers. Question three is who can reflect this back to me honestly? I was avoiding, and this is one of the things that I started doing this. One of the ways for that is me creating content and reaching out to people so that I can get feedback on the things that I'm doing. So feedback from anyone who is watching this is like I'll be very grateful for that. So coming back to the question, who can reflect this back to you or to me honestly? It's not the 10 people. It's not like you go to everyone and you start asking them. It is think of just one person who can reflect back to you honestly. And honestly, I haven't worked on this three question framework a lot, but while making this video, what I think about is that I mean, you can have two, three people, but keep them segregated based on where you feel you self doubt. For example, if I feel self doubt in my technical capabilities, I think my parents are of no big help because they are not technically sound. They can't help me there. But if I feel so, you get the idea. So think about it, and let me just tell you how this works in a very simple manner. If you feel lost when you are self-doubting yourself, it is often that you discover where have I actually stopped working. And if you start feeling that you are not good enough for something, most of the time the result comes back to that I have gone too long without a real world feedback. So, and honestly, self doubt most of the time dissolves when action reconnects you to the reality, the real world. It can also be like, even if you feel that your product is not good enough, you can get it tested by even just one client, one customer, honestly. So the core idea of this whole video was that the self-doubt is not your enemy, okay? It is a signal, it is a sign that you are drifting away from doing into thinking, and then maybe eventually into overthinking if you are one of those people. So try this tonight. On a piece of paper, write down one small action that you can take tomorrow that you feel uncomfortable about, which multiplies into you self-doubting yourself. Write down about one system or a process that you can simplify rather than complicating it, or anything that you can like refine a little bit more, and one person that you can talk to honestly about your problem, and that's it. It's a start, but try this. And there is like no reinventing of things, there is no identity crisis about it. It is just reconnecting you to the reality, your product, your services, your capabilities to reality. And maybe like the outcome of that is a separate topic. You can be, I mean, if the code actually breaks and it doesn't work, it's a separate problem, but at least you will stop self-doubting about it. You will gain some traction on it, and then you can think about the problem after actually working on it. So I want you, there is like another question which, if you feel like you can share with me, you can write it in the comments. Is that when you start self-doubting yourself, what does it sounds like in your head? And like, you can drop just one word, you can drop the comment down below. And if this video kind of makes sense to you, you gain some perspective, or it helped you in some manner, please like, share, and subscribe. I am just starting to make content, and I'm just starting to express my ideologies, my small world that I have, and it will help me a lot. It will help me understand what things I should talk about. Right now, I am focusing a lot more on founder psychology. I'm trying to figure out the negatives in founder psychology or philosophy, and trying to convert it into positive things. But later on, I do want to talk about technology, innovation. I want to talk about creative processes as well. We will connect all these ideologies. It's like quantum mechanics, but we'll talk about it on some other time. So stay grounded and start building. And thank you for watching.